righty. Burning a few more seconds, letting you get comfortable. All right, we all good to go, guys? Welcome to the How Men Project, Roman.
Thank you.
Let's start by having you tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us where you are from originally.
So I grew up in a place called Rockland County. It's a little bit outside of New York City. That's where I went to high school, middle school, high school, elementary school, all that. And then went to college upstate in New York, and then lived in the city for a few years before moving to Rhode Island and Boston. So
East Coast accent, I love
it. So when I first actually, for the first time, I didn't actually, it was one of those things where I was in the shower and I was just kind of touching myself, and one thing led to another, and it felt good. So I just kept kind of going, but it got to the point where I was just like kind of like ooh, sensitive. And I was just like, I couldn't get myself to come, because every time I would get to that point, it was just like, But yeah, I definitely remember the first few times getting, into that,
Were you someone that, like, once you discovered that, it was like obsessed?
It was it progressed from just and into actually like inserting things in my butt and playing with my butt, and got into that whole thing at a young age. So yeah, experimenting for sure. So it's not really when I was experimenting, but it was more a little after my teenage years, and I was driving my car, and I had one of those TV CD things that you could watch stuff, and I thought it would be a great idea to put up while I was driving on the highway, and got pulled over by a cop while I was in the middle of jerking off. So yeah, that happened.
What, did you get off with a warning?
I did not get off with a warning. I got a ticket for having it above the dashboard, and thankfully when he pulled me over, I didn't have my pants down, so. I'd say, jeez, probably at least, if not once a day, at least like, if I may skip a day or something in a week. But yeah, I'd say 5 to 6 times a week. It used to be more, but I feel like I'm maybe getting a little older. I guess, like, I'm a visual person, so, I mean, it's very much easier for me to get off when I'm watching a video. But throughout my years in, definitely gotten to the point where I've been able to program my mind into seeing certain things or things that turn me on. So whether or not I play maybe a scene that I've been in myself, or reenact something in my head, just kind of close my eyes and get into that, situation or that moment, and just think about that, and it's easier to get me to that point of, I played soccer in high school, and my coach used to tell me not to before a game. And he said don't release the baby batter from the brain. You'll up and make y'all, and you'll play wrong. But honestly, I feel like that had the opposite effect. If I was able to release that stress, I feel like I was more clear-headed. I don't know if it affects what you said, but I mean, like, it definitely makes me more attentive to things, being able to like focus more and not be like wandering off. And it's kind of, I don't know, I feel like when I'm all pent up, I'm not there. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad, but it's your brush. I think you're gonna watch. But yeah, I mean, like, I remember being in the shower and something other than my finger, because I mean, like, I had to be like this, and I was just like, I want just something to stay in there. So I just opened the shower, and there was a brush with the perfect, like, smooth base to it, and there it was. I'd say that was the weirdest thing, maybe. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I think it's weird just because it was my parents' brush. I washed it after, don't worry. Oh, that differs usually every time. I mean, I've had times where I've been able to finish in 2 minutes. I've had times where I've 10 minutes plus, and then others where honestly I couldn't. maybe it's the mindset you're in. You know, I've had really bad days and I just kind of wanted to get one out, and it didn't really happen. I think it's a lot in your mindset and how you are and how you're doing, that differs whether or not I'm going to come fast or not. So it's like, so when you're using your hands and you have your four fingers underneath, there's like an area on the tip of my, what most guys know, but it's like right below your pee hole where, yeah, and you just like kind of like, I usually try to stroke that and do it like with pressure. You know, I've before, and then I don't put much pressure on it, and it's not as easy for me to come as if there was some tight grip on it, you know? Oh God, ever since working with some more of like risque bondage companies, I've been introduced to other things. But I mean, personally, I've always just liked lots of kissing, touching, exploring like with my tongue, my mouth, just getting to be intimate with somebody in that sense. Not really much of like tie you up, paddle you type thing. But yeah, I mean, I'd do it. I'm into it, but more sensual touching and kissing. I'm a very big person when it comes to making out. So I have a weird, I like people's tongues. Not very many people go, like, I mean, especially when I've been having just outside of the industry, not very many people go for your butt or play with your ass. Not really necessarily fingers, but just playing with the outside. So that's definitely hot. And it's definitely a turn on. Not very many people do that. I'd have to ask for it usually. It's weird because, you know, I have friends who are completely straight and they get pegged by their girlfriend. You know, they actually are open about using toys or doing things like that, but they're very straight and masculine. And if I was like, did you sleep with a guy? They don't know. But they'll use a toy or get pegged by a girl. So I feel like everybody, in a sense, probably has experienced something along those lines where it gets close to butt stuff and play. But not very many people are open about it. I feel like, especially when you're like with a group of guys who are more bro straight, like when I was playing soccer, like nobody would openly admit, you know, playing around with their butt or inserting things in their butt. But I feel like a lot of people do it and not very many people talk about it. If you're able to express that to somebody yourself, it's more likely they'll be able to talk about their experiences with it as well. I personally don't. I mean, if somebody said that to me, I would probably not date them. I mean, that's tough. I do know people that are like, oh, why are you dating when you have me and you could be having me type of thing. So there has been that circumstance where it's like, you know, why are you in there? You can be me. So and that it's not really cheating, but it's more of like, have some respect. I'm here waiting in bed. Come with me, don't go in bathroom material kind of thing. Oh God. I have unfortunately had the unpleasant experience of having blue balls before, and I used to always think about, you know, oh, this person is gonna give me blue balls, like joking, not really noting what it was, but it's actually very, very painful. It almost feels like you have a hernia right above your nuts, and it's very painful. But if you push yourself to the limit more times than you could count and don't come, eventually it'll build up and it'll back up and it'll get blue balls. And it's very, very painful. Not fun. Me personally, I always just like to, you know, prepare my hygiene, shower, obviously, clean myself very well. Because I know I'm about to do something with somebody else, and their mouth and their face is going to be in places that people don't usually put their mouth and faces all the time. So having that cleaned, your feet, you know, and all that stuff and underneath your arms, it's just respectful to other people that you're shooting with. And I tend to go pretty in depth when it comes to doing that, mouthwash and all that stuff. And sometimes a little trick of Listerine on the butt helps. Can't go wrong with that. I mean, I see you only live once. You only get one chance to experiment with life and your body and yourself. So I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not gonna push your limits to see what you may or may not be into, at the end of the day, you'll never know. There are plenty of things that I would have never known I was into if I haven't experimented with it. I'm grateful for doing that. So I mean, yeah, I wouldn't let yourself fall short by not giving yourself the opportunity to be able to experience things that you may or may not like. If you don't like it, don't do it again. But you know, you never know if you might like something that you haven't done before. So
Awesome. Well, speaking of doing things, I think we're going to maybe have you do a little something that we just finished talking about.